What's up guys, and welcome back to another Pokemon Z speculation video basically, and today I'm going to talk about sort of my predictions, my thoughts on what the plot line could be behind Pokemon Z or Pokemon X2, Y2, X squared, Y squared, whatever the sequels are. I'm going to talk about possible plot lines, sort of how the story is going to progress in my opinion. So I'm just going to sort of start off and this is just going to be a talky episode. There's not much on screen guys, so feel free to tab out and just listen to me while I just spew knowledge, or you guys could focus and, no I'm joking, do whatever you want really and just listen. Or alternatively just don't watch the video if you want really, but I'm assuming if you're here you want to watch the video. So let's get on with it. So what's the plot going to be behind Pokemon Z, Pokemon Z I shall say for the Americans who don't know what Z is. So we assume it's going to be about Zygarde, or at least Zygarde is going to be involved somehow, since that's what the mascot will be, or X2, Y2 will be a form of Zygarde, or something along those lines. We don't know. We'll find out once the games come out, obviously once they get revealed. But we can assume Zygarde is involved to some capacity at least. And obviously the plot is going to focus sort of mainly around that. So there's going to be something to do with Zygarde, and at some point we either have to catch Zygarde or battle Zygarde, and that's sort of how the main plot will culminate almost. So how is Zygarde going to be involved? Well, we know from reading Pokédex entries for Zygarde, we know it's the final one of the trio with Xerneas and Yveltal, and it's tasked basically with protecting protecting the ecosystem, okay? It is the Order Pokemon, so Order, it keeps order, and we're told in one of its Pokédex entries that it's hypothesized that it's monitoring those who destroy the ecosystem, so it's sort of it says monitoring here, but in X we're told that when the Kalos region's ecosystem falls into disarray, it appears and reveals its secret power, which we have purported whatever words. We've speculated to be its second form, its Mega Evolution, its different forms, whatever. Some sort of form. So it's to do with the ecosystem. So here's my prediction on sort of what the storyline is going to be about. In X and Y, depending on obviously the sequel, really don't know. Either Xerneas or Yveltal gets basically awoken from their slumber. Okay, obviously they're in their cocoons. Xerneas is in a tree and Yveltal is just sort of in an egg, and they both get, one of them gets woken up depending on the version. So let's say we have two sequels, X2 and Y2. So in X2 it carries on from X, and in Y2 it carries on from Y. So Xerneas or Yveltal has been awoken. Okay, we can assume the other legendary, the opposite, is still somewhere asleep. So Xerneas or Yveltal has been awoken. And let's say these games happen a few years after, so X2, Y2 might happen a few years after X and Y respectively. Xerneas or Yveltal has been awoken, and they have started wreaking havoc on the world because they're not balanced out by their other Pokemon. Xerneas, Yveltal, they're not balancing each other out. Xerneas is the life Pokemon and Yveltal is the destruction Pokemon, or in Japanese it's actually known as the death Pokemon, so that's sort of just life and death basically. So if Xerneas has been awoken and Yveltal is not, there's no balance, so Xerneas might be giving more life out, there might be more life, no one might be dying, okay? Or no Pokemon might be dying, hence the Kalos region might be just sort of overgrown with Pokemon. Far too many Pokemon, and as we know, overpopulation isn't good because we run out of food, we run out of resources, everything like that. So if Xerneas were to sort of just run amok, that's not good. On the other hand, if Yveltal runs amok, everyone's going to be dying. So say, loads of Pokemon have been dying, no one's sort of, I don't say no one's living, but I don't know how you would do this particularly. Maybe just the Pokemon populations are lower because they aren't living as long, stuff like that. So if Yveltal's out and around about on itself, that's also not good. So whichever version, Zygarde needs to arise and solve this problem. So say we pick up the story 3 years after X and Y, whichever legendary is in the version is running amok, it's wreaking havoc basically on the Kalos region, and let's say you're an apprentice of Professor Sycamore, and say Sycamore asks you to investigate these issues, why they're he might say, oh, this is what's happening, I need you to go and sort of discover more about it, see if you can find out more about it or whatever, by studying the population. So that's why you go out on your journey. And then where does the evil team come in? So we got to assume there is an evil team. Well, in X and Y we have Team Flare, run by Lysandra, yeah, that's not much to say. What happens to Lysandra? Well, down in sort of the legendary battle chamber at the bottom of the building, when you beat him for the 3rd time, I think it is, he tries to either make in exits tries to make you all immortal, and in Wyatt's try to destroy you all. He goes crazy basically, and he does that, and then the building collapses, and we never see him again. Does he survive? We do not know. A possibility is he might survive. I don't want to say that's what I think is going to happen, but it's certainly a possibility. And they might not just, just not just, oh, he was a villain, let's bring him back, because obviously he goes mad at the end, and we know in X he's trying to sort of make everyone immortal, sort of thing. In Y he's trying to destroy everyone. So maybe in the end he just goes mad, and maybe he then comes back and said, maybe he either flips over. So in X he was going to try and make everyone immortal, now he wants to destroy everyone, and then it might be the opposite in Y, or he goes mad in some respect, or just goes crazy basically and just says, right, screw it, I'm gonna fuck everything up. So he might then get embroiled in trying to find Zygarde, or maybe Xerneas or Yveltal, whichever one's awoken. He might try and capture them and control them to, to his own end, or he might then say, okay, he was going to try and bring everyone back with Xerneas. Instead, he's going to go find Yveltal. He might go find Yveltal, try and take control of Yveltal, and then the 3rd legendary pops along. So you're trying to catch Zygarde, or you're trying to get Zygarde to get rid of Xerneas, and then the Saren just swoops in with Yveltal. It's like, hey, what's up? I'm going to screw you up. So Lysandra might not be the main villain, I guess. He might just be sort of working alone, and the evil team might be something different this time. It's a possibility. I don't know. In terms of what the evil team would be, we can assume something trying to control Xerneas or Zygarde, or maybe the remnants of Team Flare actually managed to capture Xerneas not long after it was awoken, and they're the ones sort of making all the havoc. They're the ones, because Xerneas, Yveltal, they seem like, most Pokemon seem like they want to be nice. Okay, most of them. So it doesn't make a huge lot of sense if Xerneas was just wreaking havoc on the globe, basically, or Yveltal was just killing everyone. It wouldn't make a huge amount of sense. So maybe the teams are controlling them and making them use their powers to do sort of worse, I guess. I don't know. Sort of the enemy team is what I'm sort of a bit cloudy on my predictions, my theories. But in general, sort of what I think is 3 years after X and Y, a legendary is running amok. Zygarde is then required to do it. Maybe, so why doesn't Zygarde appear anyway and do it? Surely that's what he's meant to do. Well, maybe the enemy team is then going and suppressing Zygarde as well. So you then have to go and get Zygarde, back for the enemy team, etc, etc. Finally get Zygarde, either catch him or just battle him to maybe get out of the mind control of the enemy team, something along those lines, and then Zygarde will fix a problem. It will either summon Yveltal to get rid of Xerneas or vice versa, or it will just sort of suppress Xerneas' power, and it could easily do this with its 2 forms, one countering Xerneas, one countering Zygarde, one countering Yveltal rather, something along those lines. That's sort of my predictions for the whole storyline in general. Where is this going to take place? I feel like it's going to take place in Kalos again. I can't see them bringing another region in, because then that will be 3 whole regions they have to design for 1 generation. Whereas if they just use Kalos again, they have to redesign some stuff, put some buildings in, whatever. There won't be much to change. They would be able to sort of take the basis of X and Y, change the map, and then they'd be good to go. They'd change the map, change the story, change some stuff, rather than making a whole new game, which they wouldn't do. Because the way dev teams work, you have maybe sort of, so when Black 2 and White 2 were being made, X and Y were already in production. When X and Y were sort of the main production, before they were coming out, they were already starting work on Oras. So then before Oras came out, they were already starting work on Z, taking X and Y, taking the feedback, I guess, maybe feedback. Feedback's a bit of a weird thing when you talk about Pokemon, but taking some stuff there, improving it, changing it, adding a new story on. So that's usually why you sort of get the sequel shortly after. It's been a lot longer this time, so I don't know, maybe they're adding something extra on, but I predict it's going to be in Kalos again, maybe with an after-game region of some sort. I don't really know, and of course there's a possibility it could have Hoenn in it, which would be a combination of the 2 games, but I really don't know. I don't know. I can't see Hoenn being in it, but there's a possibility still, because the Battle Frontier was teased in Oras, so like, if it's set 3 years after X and Y happen after Oras again, so Battle Frontier may well be fully made then, and maybe you have Hoenn as the after game or something like that, It's all confusing, guys. It's all speculation. I have loads of thoughts and theories I can just throw out there. Obviously, with being made in Kalos again, you can think of what would happen during the storyline. Maybe you have to go to the power plant. You know, maybe Team Flare is taking control of another of the power plants. We have like 3-4 of power plants to, you know, look through. So maybe part of the plotline takes place in there. Maybe they're using it to find out where Zygarde's located, something along those lines, because some of the power plants have sort of magma and stuff like that, so they're related to the ground, I guess. But yeah, it's really all speculation. I'm just throwing stuff out at you today, guys. And I can't really think of much more to say. I don't know what not. Well, apart from the possibility of it being based in Hone, I don't know what the after game would be. Maybe Looker comes back to sort of do something else in Lumiere City. Maybe they just sort of bring that feature back and have you and Looker work together as sort of an after game thing again. It'd be very repetitive, but they could possibly do it. But apart from that, I don't know what they do for an after game really. And I'm sort of just, yeah, that's sort of all I have to say. The main sort of thoughts of the plots were 3 years after X and Y, the legendary that was awoken is running amok. You have to get Zygarde to go and, you know, stop it, basically. That would be my idea for a general plot line. If you guys have any other ideas, let me know down below. Be sure to do that. If you like my ideas, if you think, oh yeah, that's fair enough, that sounds about right, let me know down below as well. Or if you just want to sort of put your theories in the comments, guys, basically. I want to see loads of theories being thrown around saying this is what I think is going to happen, this is what I think is going to happen, just going back and forth, guys, because it's always fun to speculate about stuff like this, especially when it's so open at the moment, because we don't even know if it's surely going to be based on Zygarde, but obviously we have a large idea, but we don't know if it's going to be based in Kalos, in Hone, wherever. We don't know much, guys. So just, yeah, speculate in the comments, guys. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit the like button as well, and I'll be seeing you next time. Thank you for watching. Goodbye, my friends.